Okay. Hi, it's Mary Beth Decker with sacredgrove.com. And today I have Jenny Lee, and she is a professional pet sitter. So, Jenny, before we start, let me just tell people about you. Jenny Lee is Vice President of the National Capital Area Professional Pet Sitters Network, NCAPPS. I had to say that slowly to get it right.
It's a lot.
She started her company, Doodlebug Dog Walker, in 2009. So after she became a sole owner of the company, she realized she wanted to connect with other business owners in her industry. This led her to NCAPPS. So NCAPPS comprises independently owned pet care businesses whose owners are committed to excellence in professional pet sitting, community outreach, and involvement. As vice president, Jenny helped the network through the many complications of COVID, which helped her find strength to keep her home business afloat. So, wow, that's so cool. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. So, just to tell you, so the people who listen to me and follow me, they love their pets like family, and they want the best for them. So, and I have international listeners all over the world, and so we're stationed or we're living here in the Metro DC area of the United States. But I want to focus on first about what it takes to be and to find a good pet sitter, so you have peace of mind when you leave them behind, right? So obviously this is really important to you since you're the vice president of NCAPPS. So what are the benefits of hiring a professional pet sitter versus a neighbor or going on some app that anybody could put their name on?
That's a great question, and I'm just super excited to be speaking to your followers because people who love their pets like family are my people. And so there are sort of two answers to that question. One is the one that a lot of people don't think about because it is part of running an actual company as opposed to just doing this, for some spare cash on the side. And that is that your pet sitting company is going to be licensed, bonded, and insured. And those are so important not only to the well-being of your pets, but also your home. For example, my company has insurance that not only covers your pet if anything happens to them, it covers your home if anything happens to your home, and it covers your pet sitter if anything happens to the pet sitter in your home. So you can rest assured that no matter what happens while you're gone, anything like that, like you're going to be covered, you're going to be taken care of, and we're going to be taking responsibility for those things. The
Oh,
other,
that is really good to hear. Yeah, I'm
right?
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're
Go
fine.
ahead.
Um, so that's sort of like the business industry. That's what's so beneficial to hiring someone. And the other part that goes hand in hand with that is you're getting someone who's been trained. I know my company has an extensive 5-part training process. And not only that, if they do have a question, they get to contact someone who's working in the office. So like, I'm always monitoring when other employees of mine are with clients. Someone's always available to help them through an emergency. So it's not necessarily that they're stuck in a moment, or even if they just have a question about where are the extra treats, there's always a backup system for them to find assistance. And that is so important, I think, because some of us aren't the best in a moment of panic. It's always nice to have someone else to turn to help you through situations like that. So that's another benefit of hiring a company. As opposed to a lot of the apps that you see, there's no training there. There's no background checks. Like I do a 5-point criminal background check on every single person I hire. So I know exactly what they've got to do. And so you don't always see those things in the apps. And again, it is great to hire your neighbor or, ask your neighbor for help sometimes if you're in a pinch. But if your neighbor decides that it would be more fun for them to go to a concert that night than making sure that your dog gets their pill right when they're supposed to get their pill, can you really rely on them to do the right thing? So when you hire someone, there is a standard set. And especially like in my company, even if the person did have an emergency, your pet sitter maybe fell and broke their leg earlier in the day, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to either find another pet sitter for you, or I will come do your visit myself. And that's something that you're not going to get if it's just one person who's responsible to you.
That is great. I'm going to tell. I love that. That's like I'm reassured already. I have to tell two stories that really opened my eyes to the fact of trying to choose correctly. Um, in my case, when I was in the Navy and stationed in Hawaii, and my husband and I decided to go back to the mainland. We had two dogs, and we thought out of the goodness of our heart, we'd let one of the sailors that we thought we knew him pretty well, could get off the ship. He could stay in our house and watch our two dogs. Okay, so we come back and the dogs are kind of frantic and there's poo and pee all over the house. And it's very clear that the guy just ghosted us and our
Oh,
dogs. Dogs were fine, but it was like, I guess we didn't know him the way we knew him. So I love your reaction because that was ours. It's like, boy, did we make a mistake.
yeah, it's the absolute nightmare when you hear about people like having someone in their home like that.
Like, wow. And then another one that was surprising to me because this was a very wonderful woman. A friend of mine had her watching her cat, and the cat had quite a few different physical symptoms. So there was a very specific diet her cat needed. The woman, in her own mind, decided she knew better and switched the cat food on her, and the cat went into a coma.
Oh no.
Now, my friend is in Europe, and so we're doing, because I do energy healing, we're connecting to the cat, saying she's coming back. Stay with us. I'm sending you energy healing, and the kitty made it.
Oh goodness.
But to so that leads me to like ethics. Does there, would this be something that's part of training, and like what are the ethical things you do and don't do? I'm just curious about that.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a great question. And again, it's one of those things that maybe people don't even consider when they think about these situations. So for my staff, like it's a very specific part of our training that we go over in detail. All of our clients have, and I mean, to try to keep it simple, like for example, my company, we have the same template for all of our clients so that their pet sitters, we know exactly where to find information that we're looking for. But before you even go into a house, you're required to read their entire profile. And that profile tells you everything about what they expect of those visits. My clients have a direct line of communication to their pet sitters that is also involved with like my administrative staff. So you can, text your dog walker like, hey, tonight when you do the feeding, can you skip the treat because they had an upset tummy? Like, not only will the walker see that, there's a sitter will see that, my office will see that, so we know to remind them at the time of feeding, like, hey, don't forget today, skip the treat. So it is very, but as far as being part of our training, like, yes, it is what the client wants, is what the client decides. I will say on occasion, sometimes, people in my company have been working with dogs for 10 years, and we might have a client who's had their first dog ever. We will offer advice. We will offer, observations from interacting with their animal, but we will never change anything unless the client has given us explicit instructions and permission.
Thank you for saying that, because that was out of the realm of even thought that somebody would do that
Yeah, that is
for an animal that is on medication and special diets. That's very reassuring too.
and we're very
I
familiar with
knew,
that.
yeah, good, thank you. So for people who maybe they have thought about pet sitting as a way to interact with animals and also bring in some income, what are the emotional benefits of being a pet sitter? Tell me a little bit about that.
I love this question because it is so rewarding. And I find a lot of times I will tell people what I do and they're like, I didn't even think that I could be a professional like dog walker or pet sitter. Tell me more about it. And so many people that have come to work for me, after the first month or so, they're like, I didn't realize how much I needed this. Like, just if you're walking dogs, you get to be outside, you get that benefit of sunshine. But like on this emotional level, and I say all the time, I'm like, I have my dog and then I have hundreds of surrogate dogs because you really do develop this lovely connection with all of these wonderful animals that come into your life, dogs, cats. We have clients that have a bearded dragon, we have rabbits, like we just get this opportunity to share in the love that animals bring, and it's, and what's so wonderful about an industry like ours in our area, there's so many commuters that a lot of my clients are basically people who just need us to come every day. And we really we get years of building a relationship with these pets, and it's just amazing and wonderful. And it's so fulfilling. And again, like I said, just the benefit of getting a little bit of exercise every day, having that reason to get out of the house and visit with these animals and experience the love and joy that they bring. And it's really unique, I think, to this industry and what we do. And it's so special. I when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a vet. And then I was like, oh God, no, I could never. Like there's too much heartbreak there. So I'm so happy that I did find my path here, because it's just so fulfilling, and it's all the benefits of getting to work with animals and not so much of the trauma that you might get in some other fields. So
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, and even the physical walking the dog stuff is, that is so super. I think about people who maybe at this point in their life or where they're living, they can't have an animal. They're in a condo or something like that. You just, if you're an animal person, you need it. Like,
definitely had,
yeah.
I've had employees like that in my history, and those are some of the best, because they're like, can I stay an extra 5 minutes? And I'm like, absolutely.
And one of the things that you had brought up that I really didn't think about is what is the essential part that the pet guardian plays in making sure you and your people, the actual pet sitters, have a good relationship and things go smoothly? What kind of things do we need to know about when we engage a pet sitter?
Yes, and I love talking about this, because it is such an essential part of the relationship that too frequently can get overlooked. So in the condition of my company, and I'm pretty sure all the companies at NCAPPS have a very similar setup, we'll come to your home when you're there and meet you and your pets at the same time, so that your pets can see you welcoming us into your home. They know that we're invited. We get to meet them, we get to interact with them. But even a step further than that, some things that we've what's the right word I'm looking for? Some things that we've had to, like touch base on some clients with is, it's a lot about how you interact with your pets, even when we're not there. If you know that your pet is a puller on the leash, so you never walk them, that doesn't make it any easier for us to walk them. So it's helpful if, we are learning together. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes I have clients that they just got a 6-week-old puppy. They've never had a dog before. They're like calling us over, and we're like, okay, like this is a journey we'll take together. So being open to communication, being open to learning together about the best way to take care of the animals. Like I said, primarily we do dog walking, but even with the cats, some people are just like, oh, I'm just going out of town, so you can just come watch my cats. Like, I don't, we don't need to do a setup or anything. And I'm like, but we do. Like, your cat will feel better knowing that you welcomed us in their home, knowing that you are comfortable with having this person here while you're gone. Or even just like if your cat likes to play, like make sure you leave us the toys. So just do the things to encourage that relationship between your pet sitter and your pet that you have with your pet. It's not just, don't think of it as putting us out and that we're here to do a job, because we're also there to enjoy that relationship and provide them the emotional and mental stimulation that they miss from having their human home.
I love that, because and as an animal communicator, I do something called postcards from your pets, where I go in and check in with them. And one of the things I say, especially for cats, is this is your chance to get human love. Get out there and go find them and get a little love, kitty cat. And then also, with the dogs, but usually as cats, you have to kind of coax. Most of the dogs are pretty lovely. Just as a reminder to them, and the fact that you come in before the folks have left, and you've seen the dogs and cats watch you, and they go, oh, yeah, they came here before. Boy, it sure sets up a different vibration.
Yeah, we've definitely, it's something that you notice right away when you're going into a home that you've not been welcomed in.
Yes. Thank you for that. let me switch to NCAPS for a little bit. You
Absolutely.
talk about the importance of community in business ownership, and I get that as a solopreneur, as they say, solopreneur. Why is network so important for you personally, and maybe to talk to other uh, pet sitters?
Absolutely. So I actually, when my business started, I had a business partner who founded it. It was all, she was the genius behind building my company, and we worked together for many years. And we got to a point where we had built something that was, successful enough for her, and she wanted to prove to herself that she could do something else. So she decided to move on, and I wished her the best. And then I was like, oh, all those little things that I get to pick up my phone and talk to her about, like I'll have someone who can relate to those issues. And I noticed that I was really missing that, which is why I was so glad that, I'm so grateful that I live in this area where we have the NCAPPS network, so that I did have that opportunity to connect with other industry business owners. And I think that the importance of it really is that there is just things that, even if you have a spouse or a partner or family or friends, they just don't get the intricacies of what you do, and they can't really necessarily sympathize. And it's so important, in my opinion, to have someone that can sympathize with you through something, because I think that it helps you get through it stronger. You just need someone to understand some hardships that you might be facing, or if you have celebrations. I think that those things can be so much more fulfilling when shared. And that's really what NCAPPS has been about, is just, like I said, we were all really struggling during the pandemic because so much of what we do depends on people not being home. So obviously a lot of the other business owners were really struggling, as not even just from, financially not being able to work, but also like, this is our calling. This is what we want to be doing with our time. So to not be able to do it was really discouraging. And I definitely credit having that community with being able to get through it the way that I did. And I think that a lot of the other NCAPPS members would agree. It was so important to have someone who knows exactly what you're going through, not just, professionally, but also just emotionally. And it was so important. And I am really enjoying, now that we're sort of getting out of that we all get together in person again, and we get to sort of, personally share in our joy and our experiences. And we also provide a lot of so many industries. And I think that just in general, people can tend to be very competitive, and it's nice to have a network of people who, even though we are all doing the same thing, we're still supporting each other. So we can share resources like, oh, do you need a new accountant? This is the guy I use. He's great. He's very familiar with our type of work, things like that. And it's just, there's so many great resources there along those lines.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, from my own experience in growing my business, doing it alone is not a pleasure. There does have to be some human support of those people who get it. So I'm hoping that if there's some pet sitters here in the DC area, they might look you up and see what's going on and how to become a part of it.
Absolutely. We would always welcome new members. We have a great time together. And, and it's also a great resource if you're thinking about starting a pet sitting business, because like I said, we have all the resources you need. We can tell you where to go to get your licenses, or who you might want to talk to as an accountant, and all those kinds of things. It really is a wealth of knowledge available.
Okay, fantastic. So this was wonderful. I learned so much, and I hopefully can pass this on to a lot of other people who are thinking about, what do I do when I got to leave the house for a long period of time. Now that we can do even overnights and all that stuff, I'm sure that this is going to be very useful for tons of folks. Is there anything, Jenny, that I maybe forgot to ask, or something that just popped in your head that you would really like to share with us?
Well, I know you mentioned you have a wide base of viewers. So the one thing that I would bring up is, I've been talking about NCAPPS, which is a very local network to us here in the DC area. One of the cool things about NCAPPS is, in order to be in our organization, you have to be accredited through one of our larger networks that, accredits these pet sitters companies. It's called Pet Sitters International. And if you just go to petsitters.com, you can actually type in your zip code and they would be able to find a pet sitting company in your area. So like a professional company, like the ones that I run, the ones that are in NCAPPS. So I would offer that as a resource to anyone who might be watching and is thinking now to themselves, like, maybe I could go out of town again, as long as they find the right person. And along those lines, I also say to everyone, just because my employees and myself and we know what we're doing, it doesn't always mean that every employee is going to be the right fit for every client. So don't be afraid to just say, this person was super sweet. I'm glad I got to meet them, but I think that for my needs, I want something more along the lines of X, Y, and Z, because, we would rather you be matched to the right pet sitter for your needs, for your comfort while you're gone, so that you're not worrying, than anything else. And we've all heard it before, no harm, no hard feelings. I think that one of the best things that we can do, especially as, pet parents, but even in life in general, is if something's not perfect, make sure it's perfect for you. Make sure you're comfortable.
Oh, I love that. It's giving us permission, because we're not always brought up to learn how to say, this isn't working for me,
Yeah.
as well as I'd like it to be. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Thank you. That gives us permission. Thanks. And what I'll do is I'll get the links from you and I will put them in the chat and in the blog so people can use those links. And I'll also include the link to your website and NCAPPS. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much, Jenny. And if you're listening to me on YouTube, I'd love if you would subscribe. So please consider that. So have a great day. And thank you again, Jenny, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Mary Beth. I enjoyed it.
All right.